Hello. Welcome everybody. Hi Jen, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. We're a little frozen here, so I'm having some internet issues, but hey, we're gonna do this regardless. So apologize if
Yes.
there's any delays.
Yes, we are just now getting out of negative temperatures and it's looking much warmer winter-wise for the next week. So I'm excited for that.
Well, send it our way, please, because us in Texas, we're not in the negatives, but we're not above freezing, and we don't do well.
Yeah. Yeah, the infrastructure is not really built for that. I don't imagine. So,
Yeah, yeah. So, what are we talking about today?
well, I know a lot of people are starting to think about tax season, which
Mm,
is which is right around the corner. We'll start getting tax forms and everything in the mail and start having to either do it on our own or talk to our CPAs, accountants, whoever you're working with to get all of that together. But I thought this would be a great time to talk about reflection and reflecting on 2023 around your money and figuring out, what worked and what do you want to carry on into the new year, what didn't work, and now you need to maybe discover some new processes or systems to um, better your financial picture for the new year.
yeah, I mean, that's how we grow. I
Mhm.
mean, I think this is a step we all avoid. Um, and you said the horrible three-letter word, but I mean, I am one that struggles with wanting to do I hate doing taxes.
Mhm.
But I mean, that's a thought that doesn't serve me well, so thank goodness I get to do taxes.
Right. Exactly. It's
That
all
means
about
I'm making money, right? If I get to do taxes because that's what we do.
yeah. It's exactly right. It's all in how you view it. I mean, tax season is never a really fun season for anybody unless you just really love taxes and numbers and forms and all of that stuff. But the good news is that you get to know the numbers around your personal or your business finances. And that's really important information that a lot of people aren't gathering on their own.
So, one of the things that I do,
Mhm.
because this happens to be a little bit more my area,
Mhm.
I'm thinking, um, our personal finances are like any business. I mean, and it should be run as such, right?
Mhm.
So, companies right now are starting to look at closing down December, and then after they close December down, they're going to be closing the year down.
Mhm.
And so, as forms come in, as much as I dread doing taxes, as I open the form, I then handle the form. That's
Mhm.
how I approach it. So, otherwise, I will procrastinate till August 15th or whatever day it's falling on. You see, I haven't even looked it up yet. I will wait until that day and go, I have to do our taxes, leave me alone. And I become this tax monster, right?
Yep.
And every year I want to avoid that situation. So I've already started planning out, okay, for an hour every day, I'm working towards closing down our businesses and our personal year.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's really smart. And again, something if and I love what you said about like we should be managing our personal finances like a business because if there are any business owners watching, you have to know exactly what your numbers are. You have to review your profit loss, your balance sheet, all of this other stuff when you do go to start working on your taxes or working with your tax professional. And for us individuals, it shouldn't be any different. We should be looking and seeing exactly what came in, what went out, thinking about the different changes that happened in 2023 that could spark some deductions. Maybe you had a kid or bought a house or bought a car or, whatever. So it's really important that you really start thinking about those things, because then you know exactly what you need to do to hopefully save yourself on some taxes, maybe go down a tax bracket if you're lucky, but then just have a better idea of what your overall picture look like for the year.
Yeah, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, but it is the individual's responsibility to verify that those forms are correct.
Right.
And if they're not correct, then it is the individual's responsibility to reach out to that business and provide the support or whatever's necessary to get those forms fixed, because companies have deadlines to getting their final forms in, and if you're making adjustments after that deadline, it really is some red tape to get those corrections in. It can spark audits. I mean, there's so many reasons why we, as individual and business owners, as these forms come in, we really need to make those priority to ensure that they are accurate, because believe it or not, those forms are used to tie back to your tax return, and if there's a big discrepancy, the IRS is going to be coming and asking why.
Yeah. And you do not want to get audited by the IRS or deal with any kind of late fees because you didn't get your stuff together or whatever else. So I absolutely agree. Um, when people are reflecting on their 2023 finances, I think there are three questions that they need to ask themselves. The first one is, what worked and why? So think about the different aspects of your finances, whether it was your income, the bills that you paid, the major purchases you had, the things you saved for, the accounts that you had. Think about what worked. What systems did you use that you really like and want to continue using? And that can be like a budgeting app, that could be an advisor or a coach, that could be where your investments are. What did you like about your finances, and what do you want to continue utilizing into the new year?
Mhm.
Um, and then the second question is, what did not work and why? So again, was there, an app that you tried for budgeting and it just was not your cup of tea? Maybe you want to explore some other methods or apps or whatever else. Did you not have a great experience working with an advisor and now you're out shopping for a new one, and you're trying to figure out what questions you need to ask to find a good fit for you? Um, so those are two major kind of what worked, what didn't work.
Mhm.
Um, is that something that you go through yourself, Jen?
Absolutely, absolutely, and I know that I'm as human as everyone else, and I don't enjoy sitting and paying bills and doing this final, as the forms come in, double checking them and filing and all of that stuff. But what I do know is if I break it up in chunks, then I'm not spending a whole Saturday or Sunday, doing this. I work it into a little bit here, a little bit there. What is it? You can't eat the whole elephant, but you can take small bites at a time, or
Yeah.
however that phrase goes. So yeah, I think it's very good to say what worked, what didn't work. Because now is the time to pivot.
Yes. Yeah, now is exactly the time to pivot, to reevaluate how you were tracking your finances, maybe income streams. That's another important one. Did you make as much last year as you wanted to? Or do you need to start thinking about other ways to make more income in the new year? Whether it's asking for a raise at your job, if you're a business owner, maybe it's raising your prices or putting out new offerings, or maybe it's just finding other income streams to supplement what you're making. That's always a really important thing. But then also on the spending side, was your spending in line with where you wanted it to be? Can
Mhm.
you look back and be proud or happy of how you spent your money? Or were there some areas that you maybe went a little overboard with, or whatever else that you'd really like to rein in this year? That's a great time to, again, think about, what did you really like about what you did, what you didn't like? And then that third question is, now what? So what are the new goals or things that you want to achieve in, 2024, whether it's, again, maybe there's a major purchase you would like to make this year, a big trip you'd like to save for, maybe like a lot of people that you and I are working with, you want to get a little bit more out of debt this year. Maybe you can't be debt free by the end of the year, but you want to make sure you knock a big chunk of it out. All of those are really great, amazing goals, but you have to sit down and actually think of what do you want and then start putting action items together to get there. And that's where Jen and I can come in and help with that.
Yes, and the other thing I wanna point out is before you sit down and do this review, you need to check all the shame, guilt, judgment, all of that crap at the
Mhm.
door.
Yep.
We're looking at data here. These are the
Yes.
facts of what happened last year. There's no emotion, they're facts. They're
Mhm.
just facts. Don't add your story onto these numbers. There is nothing you can do about it now because it's the past. It's
Right.
already happened.
Mhm.
If I leave all those yucky feelings at the door and sit down and go, I really want to see where I am and see where I need to pivot, what I loved, what I didn't love, and now what. So I
Mhm.
love all of that. But just the only thing I would add is let's leave those feelings. Let's get into business mode and leave the
Mhm.
feelings off to the side.
Couldn't agree more. And something to go along with that too is not only just looking at the data, so the numbers coming in, going out, the systems, all of that stuff. Think about the habits that you had. What habits did you have last year around your finances? Do you want to carry with you or do you want to leave behind? A lot of what, again, you and I help clients with is helping them set good financial habits, teaching them how to automate their savings so that it's not something that they have to continuously do manually or think about. Thinking about, you know, having money dates or having times once a week or once a month that they're reviewing their finances either by themselves or with a partner, and making sure they know each month where they're doing with their goals and what they want to accomplish. How's that debt doing? How is that investment doing? Whatever the case is. So thinking about the habits that you want to form, you want to keep, and you want to get rid of is going to be really helpful as well. And then there's certainly some mindset involved with that as well, because with any kind of habit, it does take time to develop it. There is some discipline and some motivation involved, but that could really help you have a much bigger year.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know Christmas bills are starting to roll in as well.
Sure.
And this would be
Yep.
a fantastic time to put a plan in place for Christmas next year. You know, what did you spend? Are you happy with what you spent? Are you not happy with what you spent? And how do we shift? Because now is the time to start setting money aside or making a plan for Christmas next year because
Hmm.
it's coming, guys.
Yep.
It is coming.
Yeah, and you can go back to our episode where we talk about planning for Christmas and budgeting and all of that stuff, because a lot of the things that we recommended were something that would be most helpful putting it into place a year in advance. So whether that's setting up like an Acorns or some sort of micro savings account that allows you to do roll ups from whatever you spend or roundups and being able to put that into a savings account, that was a great way for me to save for Christmas for many years. Whether it's just deciding I'm going to save $5, $10 a week or whatever into an account labeled Christmas, or, whatever other amazing ideas we both came up with in that episode. But that's a good one to look at if you want to start thinking about something that seems so far away, but will be here literally before we know it. So,
Right. You know, this is also a very good time to pull your credit report.
mm-hmm.
Check your
Yep.
credit score, go in detail on your credit report to make sure everything out there is correct. And
Mm-hmm.
you'll probably notice I just did this yesterday. That's why it came to mind. I have some old credit cards that I don't even have that I opened like eons ago that I just need to call and say, "Yeah, let's close that account, remove it off of my report," because the more credit cards we have on our report, it lowers our credit score.
Mhm.
Because I'm not using them. I don't even have
Yeah.
the credit cards. Anyway, do a thorough review, and if you need help with that, either one of us can help you accomplish that.
Yep, everyone gets a free credit report every year, and it is very good idea to make sure there isn't anything on there that you aren't aware of or that you're not currently dealing with. I mean, I've heard people say, this apartment that I left showed that I got evicted even though I left on my own volition, or
Right.
you know, this company said I had a late payment and I've never had a late payment in my life. Like those things really affect your credit over time, and if you don't find them and try to resolve them, then it could hurt you when you're ready to start buying a house, getting a car, anything that involves credit. You want to make sure it's all nice and accurate.
Yep. And it's a good time to start looking over medical because all of those are renewing if they haven't already renewed. But it's
Hmm.
a good time to reflect on your medical. Are you accurately covered? Are your deductibles where they should be? Because the higher your deductible, typically the lower your premiums. So, I mean, it's just a good time to do a full financial health check, is
Yes.
what we're trying to get across.
Yeah. Very important to make sure that your financial situation is as healthy as possible. Make sure that you have goals written down on paper, on the computer, and ways that you are going to work on getting to those goals. Because as we've mentioned before, it's one thing to just write a goal down and just keep looking at it and saying, I'll eventually get there.
Mhm,
It's another thing to actually have action items that are tied to that goal that make it small actionable steps that you can do to get there. So
mhm.
you're not just looking at it whimsically and saying, well, I'll be really happy when I reach this goal. Like, do you actually have a plan in place to get there?
Yeah. And then I'm going to do all my CPA fellow tax preparers a solid here. I challenge everyone to get on the phone with your CPA and schedule your appointment. Because if you have that on your calendar already scheduled, then you will for sure take these steps and get everything prepared, ready to turn over. So you're not putting them in crisis mode and waiting
Right.
till the last minute. So there's a shout out to all of my tax preparers out there.
Yes, it's very important to also understand what your own personal due dates are, as
Mhm,
well as the government ones. I know we have some business owners who probably are doing quarterly
mhm,
tax payments, so making sure they're on the same page about that. For everyone else who needs to file by April 15th, most, tax preparers are not going to want you to send them things on April 12th with the expectation that they're going to be able to have everything done and submitted by April 15th. So it's a
yeah,
good idea to talk to them and
mhm,
find out what their personal deadlines are in order to have time to get all of your stuff together, because you realize a lot of them have probably 50, 100 different clients that they're doing stuff for, and they need to figure out time frame wise how much time they have to get everyone's stuff taken care of.
yep. You're exactly right, because a lot of them will have a drop dead date where they're not
Mhm.
accepting anything past a certain date. So
Yep.
so as always, wonderful tips.
Yeah.
Let's just do
Great
a
way to
year-end close. Let's, all of you that work in companies, go talk to an accounting person, ask them what their process is, see, if you have no idea, or reach out to one of us. I mean, we can always help assist you close your year down and look into 2024 because it takes a plan to be successful.
Yes, it does. So, thank you so much. This was a great conversation, and as always, we're here to help. If you're stuck on what kind of goals you want to reach or how to get there, we're happy to help you. So, hope everyone's staying warm out there.
Yes, yes. See you next week.
Bye.